and we succeed. And it's not because we're special. It's not because we are beasts. It's not because we are different than anybody else. Nobody that I've spoken about is special. It all comes down to having the clarity, the understanding, and the sheer mission of knowing that you are going to succeed and that this is just your lifestyle. It's not get on a straight path, get on the 401, the QE, whatever major highways running through your state, province, or country. Welcome to the Coaches Council podcast with Justin and Pradeep, where the art and science of athletics and business come together to create real-life quality application that creates life-changing results through actionable takeaways. As we always say, nothing changes if nothing changes, so let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the Coaches Council. Riding solo this week, and big thing that we're talking about this week is all about recovery, all about lifestyle, and all about showing up, because I know a lot of us here stepping into 2021, we're trying to figure out what that next grind is, what that next step is, and where we want to go with it. And I take a look at myself during this time, and for the last 20 plus years, I've been similarly the same focus on performance, recovery, sleep. It's been an obsession of mine since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And there was a post by Jesse Isler today that really got me thinking. And it's a picture of him. I'll kind of set the stage for you here. Swimming in what looks to be a snowstorm. He's up in the mountains and there's steam coming off the pool. It's probably heated. It looks real nice. And he's swimming, and it says no negotiations on the front of the sheet. And the little display of words on the side says, they say, discipline is doing what needs to get done, even if you don't want to do it. And what he says is simply don't negotiate with your goals. Your goal has become your lifestyle for the duration of time it takes to achieve your goal. Period. It's not, I have to do this. It's simply, this is what I have to do. There's no discussion. Regardless if you're an entrepreneur, an athlete, a parent, studying for a test, trying to run a marathon, moving to a different city, it's not about being a beast. It's not even about being a amazing athlete. It's not about being special. It's just about being consistent. It's about being relentless for that movement forward and finding that progression. And it's about simply saying to yourself, this is what I'm doing. This is simply what I'm doing. It's a choice. And believe it or not, we make choices every single day. We make choices every single day as to what our goal is. And a lot of times the reason that we fail or we fall short is because we don't have the clarity on what we truly want. And we're not so convicted, so passionate, so strongly motivated by that goal that we've chosen that we find ourselves falling in these inconsistencies. We find ourselves driving for it so hard for maybe a short period of time, but then we fall off the track. Another story here over the last, call it month and a half. Elise and I have moved 3 times, extenuating circumstances within the family. And if you want to find difficult, try moving between New York City, Buffalo in a snowstorm, and up to Canada in a lockdown. Those are 3 incredibly hard things to do. But we have a goal of where we want to be and how we want to set it up. And again, extenuating circumstances of why we want to be in certain locations. And we just decided, hey, this is what we have to do. We're moving into a new place that's in the middle of a renovation that still has things that aren't quite set up and still aren't quite perfect. But guess what? We still show up. We still go to bed at the same time. We still eat the same way. The first thing we set up was our gym. The first thing we wanted to find out was a way in which we were going to train. The first thing we were going to find out is how are we going to get our clients what they need. And because we are so focused on this goal, because we are so oriented with that, our schedule, our structure, and our life revolves around it. And we succeed. And it's not because we're special. It's not because we are beasts. It's not because we are different than anybody else. But we've simply made a choice. We've made it our life's mission. We've made it our purpose. And we've become consistent with how we show up day in and day out. Because it allows us to be able to build these habits and build this setup around it, this resilience within us that we're not going to be denied. There's no other option other than to succeed. Now, is the path there beautiful? No, of course not. And that's, again, something that I think we fail to understand, is it's not easy all the time. It's not one-dimensional. It's not get on a straight path, get on the 401, the QE, whatever major highways running through your state, province, or country, and just going on a straight shot. It is not that way. It's like marching through the mountains. It's twisty, it's curvy, it's up, it's down. There could be a mudslide, a rock slide, whatever. You may have to push your car through a snowstorm. All of these things are going to come at you. But when you are consistent and when you have that mission and vision so clear to you as to what you want, you are going to succeed, and there is no way not to. You look at any athlete, you look at any hugely successful entrepreneur. We're talking about Jesse Itzler here. Jesse Itzler is a regular dude. A regular dude. Not to mention that his wife, Sarah Blakely, was a regular lady. She started Spanx. And then her brother, who started his own tech company, I think it was Zingle, and sold it. I mean, they're both doing it with zero experience. Jesse Itzler was he wrote songs, wrote jingles, and now is the CEO of Coconut Water, or founder of Coconut Water. Like, people have these traits. And the traits are that you show up every single day and you have a vision and a mission that you are obsessed with. If you're not obsessed with something, you're going to settle for average. I'm going to say that again. If you're not obsessed with something, you're going to settle for average. And when people are going to say, "Oh, Justin, that's so extreme." It's not extreme. If you're not obsessed with something that you are going to sleep thinking about, something that you are going to wake thinking about, something you are going to orient your life around, something that you are going to stay focused on, no matter where it is that you are, then you're going to settle for average, because somebody else elsewhere is going to do it better. The time and attention it needs to really get to the level in which you want to get to, it just simply won't be there. Kobe Bryant talked about it all the time when he was preparing to be the best in the game. What he would do is he would show up and put in the extra time. He was obsessed with performance. He was obsessed with being the best. He would shoot free throws after practice. He would shoot free throws before practice. He would go and work on the technical skills when nobody else was wanting to, because he wanted to be the best. And you take this and extrapolate it out over time. If he worked an hour extra every single day than anybody else, that's 7 extra hours a week. That's 30 approximately extra hours every month. It's about 365 hours every year. Now take that over 10 years. It's 3,600 hours of practice extra. If you did 2 hours, that's 7,000 extra hours in 10 years. If you do 3 hours, that is over 12,000 hours. And if you read the book, The Outliers, you need 10,000 hours to master something, to get good at something. He has 12,000 hours more than you. So tell me he's not going to be the best or that he's going to be great, because he's obsessed with something. And that's what we need to do as well. Whatever our goals are, whatever we're looking for, that obsession is what's going to take us there to be successful. But a lot of us do not want to be obsessed with something. A lot of us don't have this desire or this path to get us there and truly push us over the edge so that we can, again, succeed at a very high level. And if we are not willing to do that, if we're not willing to jump in, dive in, and take that extra step, we're always going to settle for average. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live a life of average. There's a lot of clients that I talk to, a lot of people that we work with, that's one of their biggest fears is before their time's done on earth here is just being average. Well, the number one thing that we can do is believe that we're not going to be average. And when your mindset comes into the fact that this is just my lifestyle, this is how I live, I am obsessed with X. I don't care what X is. It could be the best mother in the world. It could be the best father in the world. It could be the best painter. It could be the best craftsman. It could be the best builder. It could be the best garbage man. It could be whatever it is that you want. That's what's wild and crazy about this world is we can choose what we want to be the best in. And when we get obsessed with it, when we truly, truly dive in and create the clarity around it, that is when we succeed. And that is when that passion, that fire burns inside of us. I know, but as I talk about this, it kind of goes back to this level of, well, Justin, where does like the rhythm come in that you speak about, the balance, if you will? I hate that word, but where does that balance come in? And how does life create a rhythm? Because yes, I want to be obsessed with something, but I also want to have a life in another way. And you 100% can. You absolutely can, and you absolutely should. But what we're going to find along the way is that everything we do is a habit. Everything we do is going to get us closer to that goal. Sharon Srivatsa, my mentor, working with Elise and I, said the other day, he goes, why do we rest? At what point do we rest? At what point do we know the obsession also becomes a rhythm with rest and recovery? And it goes back to what we talk about in performance, is rest and recovery is pivotal to being able to be obsessed and push when it's time. So many people that burn out, so many people that fall short of their true potential never figure out that there's a give and take, and everything you do, everything in life that you do has to be done with that same obsession. And rest and recovery, sleep, need to be just as obsessive as whatever that goal is. Because if you're continuing to drive towards that goal, if you're continuing to drive towards the greatness that you're reaching for, and you think you can do it 24/7, you're wrong. You're going to fail. And I know people are saying, well, Justin, what does that mean? Like, you just told me I have to be obsessed with this goal in order to get it, but yet that I have to have this, be obsessed with rest and recovery as well. Think about it. If we were clear on what we wanted to do and we were obsessed with this goal and we really worked at what we were working at, there's going to be a time where we have to back off and obsess over getting our body and mind back to that level in which we can create that obsession and work ethic again. I go back to athletics, and if we were on the ice skating, in the weight room, training, on the turf, doing interval work, and failed to recover as hard as we worked, there'd be no way we could continue that pace of our pro athletes day in and day out for 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, 15 years. There's no way. So you have to recover just as hard as you want to work, if not harder. LeBron James spends $1.5 million a year on his recovery and his body. Richard Sherman spends $850,000 on his body and his recovery every single year. Russell Wilson spends $1.1 million on his recovery every single year. Why? Because these people have figured out that your body is what allows you to obsess and drive the talent and structure into everything that we do. And if we fail to recover, if we fail to rest, if we fail to do so in a very effective way, then we're not going to be able to push. We're not going to be able to obsess over the goals that we want to do. And that is why my obsession has become sleep, rest, recovery, and performance. I love it. I eat, breathe, sleep it. Ever since I was 14 years old. I still remember that, and I talk about this a little bit, but I went so far that I obsessed far into the other direction, where I became anorexic, became literally from, and this is what we see when you don't find that rest recovery balance. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because for 3-4 years, I would not allow myself to rest. I would not allow myself to recover. And I didn't do it out of fear. And as a 12, 13-year-old at 145, 150 pounds, I ended up being a 16-year-old at 104. I would take cold showers every single night, would wake up with a cold shower, would never let myself have hot water, slept in a basement that was cool without covers, would run everywhere, was so disciplined with my meals to a point of obsession, not having any type of understanding as to what was going in. Worked out and trained more than anybody that I'd ever known, to an obsession. But what was I missing? The major ingredient was the rest and recovery. And at 16, 17, 18 years old, I started to understand that. I started to dive into it. I started to be obsessed with that just as much as I was on the training side. Learning that the rest, recovery, nutrition, hydration, portion, sleep were even more important. And thus became obsessed there. In college, would sleep with a pulse oximeter on, would sleep with wires on my temples so I could track my brain waves, slept with a heart rate monitor, so that all of a sudden I knew how I could show up day in and day out and be the most consistent person every single day, from my attitude, from my energy, from my mindset, from my clarity, and the energy that I was able to bring into everything that I did. And that obsession allowed success. And that's no different from you. I'm not special. Nobody that I've spoken about is special. It all comes down to having the clarity, the understanding, and the sheer mission of knowing that you are going to succeed and that this is just your lifestyle. Discipline, as Jesse was talking about in that post, so many people talk about it in terms of saying, I have to do this. Doing something when you don't want to do it. But at the same point, there is no negotiation. There is no, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. There is no, I'll do this and then I'll do that. This is simply what I get to do. This is something what I do. This is your lifestyle. You can't turn discipline on like a light switch. What happens is it starts at the smallest form, the slightest of things. There's a famous speech by a Navy SEAL. He was talking about making your bed first thing in the morning. Now, do I make my bed first thing in the morning? Absolutely not. But what is it that you need to do that is that small. What is it? For me, it's doing my hair. It's waking up and doing my hair. That is the number one step for me. That is that small step that allows me to show up the way that I want to show up. Because then as soon as my hair is done, boom, focusing on hydration, boom, focusing on nutrition, boom, focusing on getting to my computer, getting my list of things done that I need to do. It's just a lifestyle. It's not I have to do this, it's I get to do this. And it's understanding that when you push and obsess about that goal, you cannot be denied. Because success is not the trophies, guys. Success is not the championship rings. Did a post on this the other day. It's not, if you're watching this on video, it's not the championship rings. It's not the pillars of championships. It's not, if you see over my shoulder, the diplomas, the master's degrees, the different items in which hang around. But it's the discipline, it's the structure, and it's the habits that were created in obtaining those things. It's the journey. It's understanding that the harder you recover, the harder you can push, and being obsessed with the push. So as we continue to go through 2021, I want you to be obsessed and turn obsession into that lifestyle on both the recovery side and whatever that X is for you. As you guys are trying to figure out what that rhythm is for that recovery, how do I recover in an obsessive manner? How do I get there? Send me a DM, set up a call, do whatever it is that you need to do so that we can get you obsessed with the recovery so you can be at your best for whatever it is that you're wanting to accomplish. With that, guys, stay healthy, stay humble, and we'll see you next week.